Look at us setting expectations because it allows both parties to be playing by the same rules. You have to be an advocate for yourself. Ask for your needs. If there is an issue, you have to bring it up so that it becomes my issue, right? It gives me a chance to succeed. Today, I want to chat about expectations and intentions, because this is something I have been big about, because I oftentimes think that I get disappointed easily, and so I love an expectation. And so let me get comfortable. What I mean by this is I love communicating my expectations. If I can give you guys an example. When I set up plans to hang out with my sister, I thought that it was going to be like a catch-up day and we just like chit-chat and do a little girly talk. But then turns out that like she had a lot of work to do and we had never communicated what the expectations of the day were. And so we were just on two different pages. And so I was just feeling a little bit disappointed. And I think that where things like may have gotten wrong is just like purely in realizing that like people have different goals for their days and how they spend their time, and sometimes those things need to be communicated about. Right? Like going back, like had we had that day over again, I think I would have like communicated to my sister like, hey, I really miss you, and so like I was hoping to like catch up with you and like just like chat about life this day. And then maybe that would have prompted her to either be like, oh, okay, yeah, totally, I like, yeah, let's catch up and whatnot. Or it could have prompted her to be like, oh, I actually have like a really important deadline that I need to do for work, and so I was like planning on being on my laptop for a bit, and so maybe can we like schedule another day to catch up. Guys, beautiful, gorgeous communication. Look at us setting expectations because it allows both parties to be playing by the same rules. I am a fan of making sure that all the players in the game know what the rules are, because if you are expecting people to play by a set of arbitrary rules, that will not go well, right? When I don't know the rules to the game, how do you expect me to succeed? Oh, I'm just playing this game blindly? How do you expect me to succeed, right? I'm not going to play Monopoly Deal and be like collecting all the property if like I didn't build up my bank first and protect my assets, right? That's not how you play the game necessarily. And so I'm a fan of communicating expectations because it allows both parties to be very clear on what the intention is for the day and to mitigate disappointment, right? I think for a really long time in my life, I used to keep my expectations low so that I wouldn't be disappointed. I think that's a little sad. It makes sense logically, right? I do think that I err on the side of keeping my expectations low because life is not going to always work out how you want it to. You guys know that life goes awry sometimes. And so when it comes to, just mitigating the disappointment, like maybe rather than having to keep your expectations low, communicate your expectations and add a little bit of buffer to be disappointed, because that doesn't really hurt, right? Even for, I think one of the biggest lessons in this is actually traveling. It is summertime. We're going on our summer trips. We're having a European summer. We're going to tropical destinations. We're getting burnt on the beach. We're getting tan on the beach if you're lucky. We're getting food poisoning and water poisoning from the water in Mexico. We're doing all-you-can-eat vacations. And if you are traveling with a person, if you are not communicating the expectations of the trip or your intentions of the trip, oh, are y'all in for a ride? Now, I'm not saying you have to do this, obviously, but something that I have learned is, like, I like to do this because I remember when I was going to New York with a couple friends that had never been to New York. And lo and behold, they wanted to do all the touristy stuff. I had been to New York 2 to 3 times before that. So been there, done that, probably twice, maybe even thrice. And so my goal for the trip was to have like a low-key chill, like locals experience. Like take me out to the underground sushi bar, take me out to the Italian place that doesn't take modifications. Like I want to have the local authentic experience. And so when it came to traveling, it was really, really tough because there were just arguments about what the itinerary was going to be because they hadn't been there yet, right? And I don't want to play tour guide. I don't want to go around to the Statue of Liberty and to the Rainbow Bagel place and to the Empire State Building and Times Square. You want to go to Times Square? No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm good. I will pass. Thank you so much. No, thank you. Because, y'all, I really, with my traveling, like traveling is it's a commitment, right? Like when we travel, we're taking time off. We're not going to another place that we could be going. Like traveling is a big commitment. There's money involved, like all of it, right? Money, time, resources, energy, all of it. And so I want to go on a trip that I enjoy. And so after that, I realized that, oh, maybe I don't want to be going to a place that I've been with somebody it's their first time, because we simply don't have the same expectations. Or at the very least, if it's the other person's first time going to a destination, ask them, like, do you want to do all the touristy stuff? Because if you want to do all the touristy stuff, maybe I'm not the correct travel partner for this. And like, I want to go back when we can both enjoy it for like the second time, right? And so I've learned to communicate this and realize that, yeah, I'm not trying to travel with somebody it's their first time. And also traveling with somebody who has the same like motives, right? Because, yeah, I'm a foodie. But like, sometimes I'm like, I want to go see the views more than I want to eat the food. Because that's just kind of my goal sometimes. Like, I'm like, we have such good food in LA. Of course I'm going to eat the good food. But, like, am I going to choose a really good food place over a destination that I will maybe never see in my life? I don't know. And so, also communicating about, like, what kinds of activities you want to do. I think like getting really specific in your intentions and your expectations is really good, right? Because even in relationships, like that takes a lot of communication. Because, right, I have definitely had those times where maybe I wanted a more intentional date. Maybe I wanted to like get a little vulnerable, or there were certain things that I wanted to talk about with my partner, but maybe they weren't aware of that and I did not make them aware of that. So it's not their issue until I make it their issue, right? And so when it comes to just setting expectations, it allows for like, I guess like goals to be met almost, you know? Like if I have certain goals in mind for a particular dinner, then like, yeah, let's get those done. And it, I think like mitigates the potential for anger, right? Because like, or like honestly conflict. I will do the conflict if it needs to be had, but do I want to be in conflict? Not really. I'm very chill. Can you tell by my backwards hat? I'm very chill. I like to keep it low key. I'm like, oh, it's not that serious. Of course, when it's serious, it's serious. But like for a majority of things, I'm like, if it can be fixed, let's go solution oriented. And so when it comes to the expectations and like mitigating conflict, like let's just mitigate the conflict by communicating, right? It's kind of like being proactive and getting in front of the issue rather than dealing with it retroactively, right? If I could prevent a problem, I will prevent a problem before it is a problem. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take the Lactaid before it is a problem. Sometimes does the Lactaid not work? Yeah, sure. But I will take the Lactaid just in case. Oh, because I would rather take the Lactaid than have to take the Tums and have to hold my tummy later. And another emotion I feel like that comes up when expectations aren't being communicated is like resentment. Because it's like, why don't you know that? Even when it comes to like me being communicated to, right? I had a friend recently tell me that she kind of felt like there was a time period in our relationship where she was the only one giving an effort. And like she was the only one hitting me up, and so she kind of felt like a burden. Like I didn't really want to hang out with her, but I was just like almost pity hanging out with her. And I was really sorry to hear that, because obviously like I didn't do that intentionally, but I wasn't being per se intentional about our relationship. And so after hearing that, I was like, you know what? I really need to like change my behavior and like not use like, oh, I don't really hit people up as an excuse. Like I want to be a little bit more intentional about what I'm like giving my time to, because we only have so much time here. We only have so much time in our day to day. And so I want to make sure that I'm like spending it with the people that I love. And if they aren't feeling loved, then I want to be communicated to. Because in addition to communicating expectations, I also think that falls in line with communicating your needs. You have to be an advocate for yourself. I, on the receiving end, can't always be the person coming up with the solutions. Like, I think, right, it takes a team effort. And so in this situation, I really just needed her to say, like, I need you to reach out to me and, like, initiate hangouts. And so we were just very clear on it. And it gives me a chance to succeed, right? Again, going back to the rules thing, I don't want to play a game to which I don't know the rules. Like, I'm not trying to Squid Games this ish and, like, you know what I mean? And so, like, give me a chance to succeed. And I can only do that if you communicate your needs, right? I can't read your mind. I'm not a mind reader. And if there is an issue, you have to bring it up so that it becomes my issue, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not that I don't care. It's that I didn't know, right? I can't know everything. And so when it comes to, yeah, like, don't make people read your mind. Like, ask for your needs. And, like, I feel like sometimes there could be a little bit of shame in asking for your needs, but you're just giving people the chance to succeed, right? Like, I think I used to like feel embarrassed when I was like, I need some attention. Like, I need you to ask me like how I'm doing. But now, rather than like having to be prompted, I literally just tell my friends like how I'm doing. I don't really like necessarily need them to ask me anymore, because I've kind of like, changed and moved on from that. And I'm not saying that's everyone. Some people still need to be prompted, but I think having friends that know you and you knowing your friends, right? Like, I have my friends that I know need to be prompted. Like, some of my very, very close friends need to be prompted. Like, and what I mean by that is, like, they need to be asked how they're doing. Like, they need to get a little bit of spark of inspiration to be like, how are you doing inside, internally, feelings, emotionally, right, spiritually? And that's okay. It's just understanding your friends. And so I think that's also where like vulnerability comes in, right? Be vulnerable with your friends and tell them what you need, because asking for your needs is not a sign of weakness. Asking for your needs is a sign of self-awareness and like trust in the relationships around you, because your friends, if they're good friends, they want to do right by you, right? Your friends want to care for you and spend time with you. But like, if they don't know necessarily like how you receive love, then like, I don't think that there can necessarily be an expectation of them. You know what I mean? And so be intentional, communicate your expectations, and ask for your needs. Asking for your needs is low-key kind of awkward, but you just gotta do it sometimes, right? Like, I would much rather have an awkward conversation about being like, hey, I just like need a little bit more attention from you, and you could do it in a cute way, right? That's one like communication strategy that I have learned over the years, is like, you could do it in a cute way and not so serious way. Shout out to my friends for actually putting me on to this, because I used to think that every like thing that I brought up had to be really super serious. But then they were like, dude, Hannah, you have so much egg yolk, just use that. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, okay, I'm feeling hurt. I could just be like, rather than being passive and being like, wow, you never hit me up, or like, wow, like, thanks for the invite. I don't like that. I turned it into something cute. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do it. I'm like a little embarrassed. Honestly, I feel like I would start out like, my feelings are hurt. Me communicating my expectations in kind of a cute way. Like, oh, why? I'm like, because you didn't invite me. Or like, I'm trying to think of another example. I can't really think of another example, but okay, you guys get it. Yeah, and so be vulnerable, but like, yeah, you don't have to like communicate so seriously all the time. Like, we have other ways to communicate that like make it so that not everything is so serious, right? Like, I think a part of choosing your battles is like choosing which battles to take really seriously. Like, is this a big battle or a small battle? Like, can I take my mini pony or can I take my big pony? You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of assess the situation and be like, is this serious enough to bring out in a serious manner? And does this require like extended attention or whatever it is? Or like, can I do it in kind of a cute way, maybe not passive? Or like, sometimes passive works too. I'm not saying all the time, like, don't be passive aggressive, but like, you could just like make a little comment here and there and be like, I didn't like that. And then hopefully they will be receptive towards that. And hopefully your communication and like relationship will grow and thrive and be beautiful. That's enough yapping for today. Bye.